Welcome back, True Seeker. It is Friday, July 5th, 2024. Most of the media focused on tonight, George Stephanopoulos' interview of Joe Biden. Of course, he used to be an advisor to Bill Clinton, old George. But in addition to that, so much speculation about if Joe's going to step down. He said today he absolutely will not, but all kinds of pressure for him to step down. And a lot of people are turning their attention to Kamala Harris, the vice president, who's that magic age of 59 right now, just like how Joe and her won the 59th presidential election. You might recall she was selected as the VP in a big 59 ritual once upon a time. But we're going to talk more about that and how yesterday on the 4th, Kamala and Joe were together to celebrate the nation's birthday, and Kamala spoke first. We're going to take a look at what they said. And again, Joe Biden today said he's completely ruling out getting out of the 2024 race. We're going to look at what's so funny about the phrasing of completely ruling out in light of it coming today and just before the next week's news cycle begins on Monday. There's a little parallel, as we'll get to. And then more Jesuit jokes with Jesuit-educated Donald Trump and Judge Eileen Cannon. Again, she initially wanted Trump in court on Cannonball Day, which is important to the Jesuits, and now Trump's legal team is seeking to use the immunity ruling to get him out of the court case that has been delayed with Judge Cannon in Florida. And we'll see if this becomes the trend. The Supreme Court ruling getting him out of his 3 other legal cases he's still involved in. Also, just want to make sure everybody saw this headline from the Boston Globe. On the last day of the United States of America being 247 years old, July 3rd, while all the media is so focused on the parallels to 1968 and how Lyndon Johnson that year announced March 31st that he would not run in the upcoming election. Again, with all this focus on these things, just how they encode historically bad. And again, literally the last day of the country being 247 years old. An article paralleling right now to 1968. Again, just you learn the little ABC 1, 2, 3 code. You see, just like we've been saying for the whole time we've been here, when they put emphasis on words, they're encoding a message. We'll talk about that a lot more. We'll go back and look at this shot from early in the Biden-Harris administration, see what it reminds us of now. And again, this speculation that the 25th Amendment could come up, which would involve Kamala Harris removing Biden from office if he's seen unfit to lead after his June 27th debate performance. And again, yesterday on the U.S.'s birthday in the U.K., they had their election. And as we talked about, the last prime minister announced the election for the 4th of July 43 days before the election. And we said right there, well, doesn't that make sense that they'll lose? Because 43 is the 14th prime number, and the Conservative Party will be out of power after 14 years. In the short little video I made on this yesterday, I misspoke. I'll cover that when we come back to this story, correct that mistake. And then today, 201 days from the Pope's birthday, Hurricane Beryl's track shifts, and all of a sudden it starts moving northwards towards Texas. And they're saying by Monday, Corpus Christi could be experiencing a hurricane that might have intensified in warmer Gulf waters. So we'll talk about why it matters that became the headline today. And in case you missed the short video I did on the latest sexual assault, sex trafficking charge against Diddy, it's the 9th. We'll talk about why it was the big headline on the 4th of July, just super familiar pattern, and why the accuser this time is English. It just couldn't be any more gematria perfect. But right here, George Stephanopoulos, who now works for ABC, who used to be part of Bill Clinton's administration. Think about the letters A, B, C. A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, 1, 2, 3. Today's 123 days before the election on November 5th. And again, it wasn't going to be this day initially. It was going to be yesterday, but they shifted it to tonight. And all kinds of speculation on why they did that. I would say it's as simple as ABC 1, 2, 3, again, 123 days to the election. We know they're always counting. But also noteworthy about today, in light of the Jesuits being the puppeteers of the political theater and the actors on the stage like Biden and Trump and Robert Kennedy and so on and so forth. Today is 201 days after the Pope's birthday and the 187th day of the year on a calendar name for the Pope, where the Jesuit order's 201 and Society of Jesus is 187, and those are big numbers always in D.C., the Jesuit stronghold. We know how faithful 201's been with Joe Biden's family. He lost his wife and daughter in a 201 ritual back in 1972 after becoming senator-elect, and then he lost his son when he was 72 years old, 201 days before the Pope's birthday. And, George Stephanopoulos, again, he used to be advisor to Jesuit-educated Bill Clinton. Says his early life, his father, this is George Stephanopoulos, his father was a Greek Orthodox priest and Dean Emeritus of the Archdiocese Cathedral of the Holy Trinity in New York City. So, again, religiously connected, politically connected, what we're trying to expose every day, that it is a religious order that really stands behind this nation. He graduated from Orange High School in 78. Again, we know 78's a big-time number right now. Joe Biden took office at 78. Trump just turned 78. 78 cards in the tarot deck. This upcoming Monday is July 8th, 7-8. We'll get to that in a moment. We'll see what happens over the weekend. Again, two opposing forces right now. Pretty much the entire world saying, it looks like you got to go, Joe. But Joe's saying, oh, no, I'm definitely not going. I'm in it to win it. I just had a little cold. It's like, is that reassuring? You're an old man getting colds in the summer. Your cold made it so you couldn't remember your lines. I mean, come on. But yeah, today, you got the former Democratic Party member putting together the edited interview to try and make Joe look a little bit better presented than he was in the debate. But ultimately, who's this going to convince? People like my sister? I mean, that's really who it's for. It's like my sister. Again, my sister only really supports two people in the world. Actually, I take it back. She supports three. She supports Oprah Winfrey, Martha Stewart, and I've always told you guys her favorite news personality is George Stephanopoulos for whatever reason. But lately, she's a big Joe Biden supporter as well, and she wants to see him have a second term. And I just think, what is wrong with my sister? I mean, like, who is a big Joe Biden supporter? Oh, man. Nobody should be voting in any of these rigged selections, but to support Joe Biden at this point, it's just like, come on. It's the problem with listening to NPR every day. I'm going to talk about August 9th. Remember last year, Joe Biden had the assassination scare on August 9th. The FBI made an arrest of a Mormon man that wanted to kill him. And then later that same day, Ecuador had a political assassination of a man born in 63, like the year JFK was killed, and he was killed 63 days from his birthday. There's something very interesting about August 9th upcoming. And George Stephanopoulos, his name has that gematria of 89. Remember, it was Gerald Ford in 1989 who answered the little girl's question about how we'll get the first female president. And he said, well, there's going to be an old man who's going to die, and the vice president will be a woman, and she'll become president. And again, he said that in the Herbert Hoover Library. And as we'll get to again, Kamala Harris was born the exact same day that Herbert Hoover died. And that was October 20th, 1964. We're coming up on Herbert Hoover's birthday anniversary, which is August 10th. But yeah, let's look at the remarks by Kamala yesterday for Independence Day. She was with Joe Biden. She spoke first, and again, the White House posted it at 8:15 Eastern time, which is interesting. It's the Jesuit order's birthday, 8:15. But Says the Vice President, happy 4th of July, everyone. Happy Independence Day. And today, as we celebrate freedom, as we celebrate the promise of America, we also celebrate and express our gratitude to our service members, to our veterans, and to our military families. And we give thanks to our Commander-in-Chief, the President of the United States, the extraordinary President of the United States, Joe Biden. And then Joe Biden spoke. He said, ho, ho, ho. Happy Independence Day. I don't think the ho, ho, ho was an accident, because if you heard the stories about Kamala, how she climbed the ranks, ho, ho, ho. Happy Independence Day. We got to do what our founders did. And by the way, if you guys don't know this about Kamala, look into where she took her law exam that she supposedly passed. Happened to take it there at the old Jesuit University in the Bay Area. We got to do what our founders did, show the world we're a nation of dignity, honor, and just devotion to one another. I really mean it. Folks, it's all about democracy. It's all about freedom. It's all about who we are. We're the United States of America, and nothing like it exists in the world. Yeah, no one's ever killed more people. Happy 4th of July. Enjoy the fireworks. God love you all. Thank you and thank you and thank you. 4 more years, 4 more years, 4 more years, so that we get the triple chin of 4. The man who was the VP to number 44. So anyway, Kamala did speak first yesterday, and lots of speculation yesterday. Like today, it's pretty much been the focus the last few days. Could Kamala take the reins? Could it be a ticket with Kamala and Gavin, Michelle, Lady Power? Yesterday, the day of these remarks, the 4th day of the 7th month, the nation's birthday. If Joe Biden did not finish his term, Kamala would become number 47. Again, lots of 47s with the presidency. Obama became the first black president at age 47. Again, Joe Biden was his VP, the 47th vice president who won federal office in 72, the year of the 47th presidential election. And again, 47 years after becoming senator, he became president-elect. And again, government authority, White House president, Republican, Democrat, and the list goes on. So many things connected to 47 in the government, or so many things connected to the government have a gematria value of 47. So lots of speculation all day that Kamala could be the one before long. And in light of it being the 4th and Joe Biden closing out with all the 4s, 4 is associated with death. Joe Biden has that gematria 44, like he was VP to number 44. This ritual in the time of Cancer, July 4th, fateful day. Fateful day. Look at this. Did you guys see yesterday on CNN how they were advertising that the Killers were going to perform on July 4th? Cain, like Cain and Abel, Cain kills his brother. The Killers. Again, 3 of the first 5 U.S. presidents dead on 7/4. Zachary Taylor got deathly ill on July 4th and died days later. Again, the Ides of March, remember the killing of Caesar, is on the 74th day of the year. Again, in gematria, killing equals 74. But yeah, CNN all day advertising the Killers. And I'm sure they had several different variations of the ad, but I had CNN on yesterday for a little bit when they were advertising the musical guests, and they had like all the lists up of the performing acts, and they were playing in Vogue, Never Gonna Get It, because they were one of the performers in Vogue. With at the top of the list was the Killers. And I was just like, I mean, it's funny when you have eyes to see. You just see the mockery. Never Gonna Get It with the Killers up at the top of the list on 7/4. Again, in gematria, killing equals 74. Just like gematria equals 74, like English equals 74. Like holiday, like Independence Day, like Masonic cult. The list goes on. But yeah, today, the day after, Sanjay Gupta on CNN speculating on how he thinks he sees a neurological problem in Joe Biden that could prove dangerous in the near future. Can someone verify that Sanjay Gupta has ever even gone to medical school? I mean, the guy's just come across as a complete dunce and fearmonger and been wrong about everything his entire career on CNN. Out of all the BS I've seen with Sanjay Gupta, my favorite to date is still when they were trying to hype Zika, the Zika virus, for a second. Remember, Zika was discovered in 47. It's got that 47 gematria as well. But I still can remember him out there. They had him like in the Everglades in Florida in a swamp. And he's like out there and he's like, this is where it's originating from right now. It's like, oh, this is so scary and potentially deadly to the nation that you're just broadcasting from the middle of the swamp where apparently they are. So it's like, who's watching this and falling for the fear mongering? I mean, that should just tell you everything you need right there. He's just standing in the middle of the swamp to bring up the Zika hype. I mean, come on. Oh, these people. All this false fear mongering in the time of the scandemic. But yeah, yesterday was 227 days after Biden's birthday as the nation turned 248. But 227 is the 49th prime. And remember, Kamala is the 49th vice president, and her name, Kamala Harris, is 49, like Washington, like America, as she spoke first to celebrate America's birthday. And again, if there is some kind of transition here in the days ahead, she's going to turn 60 just before the 60th election. We thought at this magic time of Biden being 81 and her being 59, we'd see some kind of major fireworks. And there's been fireworks all over the place. But again, because Kamala and Joe won the 59th election, and Joe supposedly got a record 81 million votes. Remember, Obama's Secret Service name is Renegade, which equals 59, like slave, Negro, blues, Rasta. This number connected to Black history. So we could see the first Black female president, also connected to Joe Biden, who passed that crime bill that put a lot of Black people in prison needlessly for minor offenses. But yeah, that is the magic of her being 59 right now and Joe 81. And then again, the day that Herbert Hoover died was the day she was born, when Gerald Ford gave his prediction of how we'll get the first female president when the old man dies and the woman VP becomes it. I noticed something else interesting. Well, we've talked about this before. Kamala's birthday is the day leaving 72 days left in the year. Like President Biden equals 72, also President Trump. And again, Biden became senator-elect in 72 and lost Beau Biden when he was 72. But something I don't think I'd ever noticed before is that the Civil Rights Act was in 64, signed on July 2nd, 7-2. And from that day, July 2nd, 64 to Kamala's birthday, the day she was born, was 110 days later. Like president is 110. July 4th, the day that they gave their remarks together, that was 37 days before Herbert Hoover's upcoming birthday anniversary. Remember, Joe Biden equals 37 like Harris. It's going to be his 150th birthday anniversary, which is a big Illuminati number. Remember, the sun, which illuminates the world's 150 million kilometers away on average. August 9th, dates we've circled for, that could also make sense for some kind of transition. The dates, well, you could even argue August 7th, because it's got that 7-8 thing. Here, let's just put it this way. After Obama turned 63 years old, Obama will turn 63 on August 4th. And remember, last year he had a couple deaths around his birthday. Their chef was found dead floating. And then the Lion King voice actor, was dead. And that mattered because Obama joked at the 2011 White House Correspondents' Dinner that he was Simba from the Lion King. Simba equals 44 in Gematria. And it was the voice actor for Simba who died. And that was announced right around the time of Obama's birthday. But yeah, Obama will turn 63. And again, JFK killed in 63 at 46, like Joe Biden, number 46, elected 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday, after his son died at 46. Remember, Obama was born in 61, the year that JFK took office. And that Christmas Eve, the Andy Griffith Show did the episode about a bootlegging family being busted at 411 Elm Street. And of course, the Kennedys were a bootlegging family. And JFK was shot from 411 Elm Street. And the Andy Griffith episode, from Obama's date of birth to the Andy Griffith episode, was 144 days. And again, JFK died 144 days from meeting with the Pope. And RFK died at 1:44 in the morning. And the million other 144s that fit in, including last year, keep in mind, August 9th, the day before Hoover's birthday, is the day leaving 144 days left in the year. They arrested the man who threatened to kill Biden last year on that day. And then you had the assassination in Ecuador of a candidate born in 63 who died 63 days from his birthday. There's been just so many little clues just everywhere pointing back to this time period. JFK and RFK, again, JFK in 63, RFK in 68. And yeah, so I wrote some notes down about these dates: August 9th, August 10th, August 7th is the date that can be written 7/8. We know August 14th, also very interesting. So I'm thinking we're going to get something very noteworthy not too long after Obama turns 63 years old, the magic number in terms of the JFK parallel. And remember, JFK was number 35, but he was the 44th term president, like Obama was number 44. I saw that August 9th this year has a rare astrological phenomenon happening. It's called Parade of the Planets or Parade of Planets, which happens to have that Gematria 63, which is interesting. So that'll be 5 days after Obama turns 63. And in case you've never seen the Gerald Ford clip before, just search Gerald Ford first female president prediction. It's weird. A little girl asked him a question. He just answered it in the weirdest way. And the thing about Gerald Ford is he replaced Richard Nixon, and Nixon resigned on August 9th in history, the day leaving 144 days left in the year. Remember, President Biden equals 144 like Jesuit order. He has the same birthday as RFK, who died at 144 in the morning. We know that he just met with the Pope on Trump's birthday, 144 days for the election. But Gerald Ford has the parallel back to Richard Nixon, and Richard Nixon lost to Kennedy in the 1960 election. Then he has this prediction which fits in with Kamala, who's about to turn 60. The one thing that's important about what he said, too, is that once we get this first female president, it'll be very hard for men to become president again. So, I mean, that is one definite part of the prediction that you really got to think about it if they do transition to Kamala right now. And I guess the only other way you could really see the scenario unfolding is if somehow Biden, he stayed in there, he won re-election, and Kamala's still the VP. You know he wouldn't finish the next term. And then that could be when the Gerald Ford prophecy ties in. But yes, Gerald Ford was the 38th president, and he speaks about how the old man will die. Remember, death equals 38, like murder, like killing, like RIP. And DC, of course, on the 38th parallel. So yeah, a few little dates after Obama's birthday are all quite interesting. And yeah, I was just going back over old notes, and I was reminded about how Obama's birthday was seemingly synced with JFK's Andy Griffith prediction of, the bootlegging family getting busted from 411 Elm Street. That ends up being the address from where Lee Harvey Oswald fired the shots. Okay. Joe Biden saying he's completely ruling out getting out of the race. You see how CNN emphasized the phrase completely ruling out? Most simple cipher, 263, which is the 56th prime. Today has the 56th date numerology. Monday will be the 263rd day of Kamala's age. Tuesday would be 263 days after her birthday. Remember, from Joe Biden's birthday, November 20th, 1942, to Kamala's birthday, October 20th, 1964, is exactly 263 months later. Again, the 56th prime number, powerful number pairing that comes together all the time. We talked about it in a big way with all the stuff they did on March 26th, 26/3, like 263. That's Pelosi's birthday. Nancy Pelosi's got that 56 in her name, Gematria. But yeah, just Society of Jesus in Washington, D.C., 56, big numbers. And 56 often comes with 201. Today's 201 days again after the Pope's birthday. It's like event 201, and then the first case of the scandemic 56 days later. It's like in Hebrew, light equals 201, but in English it's 56. So Monday, July 8th, 7-8 fits the major 78 theme that we've been talking about all over the place. And again, we'll see what it looks like this weekend. Again, just two very different messages, pretty much from the world and then from Joe Biden. They're smashing into each other, and it doesn't feel like the 80-some-year-old frail man's going to be the one that holds up. So they're just building the storyline. He couldn't bow out gracefully. The pressure of the world took his old ticker under. And yeah, just I brought this up in the beginning, just the Trump team making the request of Judge Eileen Cannon to look at the immunity ruling and see if the case can be tossed. Again, the whole thing's been a massive Jesuit joke all along the way, and now 201 days after the Pope's birthday, it's obvious who's writing the script. And for people to think that it's not a script, you just got to be brain dead. I mean, just all the stuff we've been documenting. I mean, I was out in Louisiana years ago talking about what they did to Billy Cannon on Cannonball Day. And this time they implemented Judge Cannon on Cannonball Day. There's been other things along the way. Just year after year, you pay attention to the special Jesuit dates on the calendar year and on a calendar that was given to us by the Jesuit priest, Christopher Clavius. And it becomes very obvious who's pulling the strings. So yeah, we covered this earlier too, just the last day of the country being 247 years old in an article where they compared this year to 1968, the Boston Globe. They encode historically bad, which, it marked the last day of the history of the United States of America and its 247th year of existence, ending in a form of chaos where the sitting president, with the same birthday as RFK, who got smoked in 68, is just seemingly not fit for office, but unwilling to admit it to the public. And also, just at the same time, the fact that so many people are acting surprised about how bad it was. It's like, I mean, hasn't he been pretty damn bad for a long time now? But again, some days he turns it on and he seems like he's mostly with it. And that's why I continue to say, is it all just an act? Is it all just political theater? Some days he's really got to play up slow Joe. Some days he's got to show like he still got it. And again, they gave him a lot of credit for his State of the Union, but even if you go back and watch that, he was still, mumbling his sentences and merging together his words. It was like if he was anybody else, if he wasn't an 80-plus-year-old man, they'd have been like, well, never mind. We did have George W. Bush. Somehow, I couldn't believe when I was a teenager. I was 17 when George W. Bush became the president, and I just couldn't believe it. I thought, where do I live? How is this even possible? It's only gotten 1,000 times worse since then. But, yeah, to go back to this shot right here, we always thought this was a really interesting shot when this news broke. This is February 17th, 2021. You got the Masonic checkerboard floor. You got two columns seemingly in the foreground and in the rear ground. Again, the Masons have the pillars, Solomon's Temple, Boaz and Joaquin. It just seemed like high Masonic symbolism. And again, the post time was 47 minutes after the hour, like how she could eventually become number 47, how the Masons study the 47th problem of Euclid. Her post, though, is actually from the 48th day of the year, which is interesting because Freemason has the gematria of 48 like Illuminati. But yeah, again, that was in the early days of first taking office, and we thought that was also a little foreshadow for what they got planned for Joe being connected to not only the first black male president, but the first black female president. Of course, he's going down in the history book for the first black female Supreme Court justice. And don't forget, she got installed while Kamala was 57, when Supreme Court's 57. There's a lot more to that as well. But again, Joe Biden passed that crime bill in 94 that put a lot of very darker, I shouldn't say very, but just darker complected people in prison at a very disproportionate number. So yeah, he always likes to act like he's the friend of black people, but like, I think your policy, you know, it didn't do good for a lot of black people. Again, the criminal laws of this nation, they're very disproportionate in terms of the communities they impact. I did a short video on this, but in case you missed it, the day before this was a headline we were talking about. Are they going to start doing the Joe Biden could be removed with the 25th Amendment because they did it with Trump, and both Biden and Trump equal 25, and then sure enough, it was like the very next day that was a big focus. So all of these storylines, they're going to continue to debate us with them, and again, inauguration day next year is a little more than 6 months away. Joe Biden, his character as he's understood, this old man with a failing memory, usually once that happens, it only continues to deteriorate. So it is possible that's why the Time magazine brought up again and again while Trump was the president, this 25th Amendment. And I don't think a lot of us had ever even really heard about the 25th Amendment and how it could be used to remove the president, but the media was making a big focus of it in the time of Trump. And now here we are again with Trump running, and now how it could be used against Biden. So part of me wonders if that's why they introduced it so many times. Could this end up being what happens with Joe? He won't step down. His mind's not there. It's bad for the party. The party's got Kamala's back. Push the button, Kamala. Push the 25th Amendment button. Make history. So it's a narrative we've talked about potentially happening since Joe took office. Now, I misspoke yesterday. The way they're interpreting this election of this Labor Party member, Starmer, is that the UK is moving very far right, but this is kind of a break in that because he's from the Labor Party, which is the more or less conservative party. Again, just doing this on the nation's birthday, what stood out is it's 60. He was elected 60 days before his birthday. And again, we got the 60th U.S. presidential election upcoming. And then today, he was officially installed today. So today he became the prime minister. Today's 201 days after the Pope's birthday. Again, the Jesuit Order 201, Pope Francis, the first Jesuit Pope, the first to live at Suite 201 at the Vatican. His birth name, 201. This long Jesuit history with 201. What are the odds that you get this prime minister on 7-5 as well, while the Pope is 87 and the Superior General 75? Because again, the founder of the Jesuits, Ignatius Loyola, in the four base ciphers, his name equals 201, 87, and 75. And then the other one's 231, which is the 21st triangular number, like Jesuits also 21, which is similar to 201. And remember, 10 Downing Street, the stained glass above the door, very much like the Jesuit Order's logo. But yeah, I actually need to do more research on that. I'm sure there's more to it. It just seems like it's no accident, though, in light of the way they like to sync up the administrations over there with the U.S., that the election's on the U.S.'s birthday, 60 days before before the 60th presidential election. And just one more time, the Conservative Party had been in power for 14 years. The word end equals 14. And Rishi Sunak announced the election on July 4th, 43 days before the election, which is the 14th prime number. So, and we cover, if you want to watch the video from the day he announced, we covered it then, and we said, well, there's the sign right there that 14 years should be up. Labor, the way they spell it over there, has the gematria 24. Labor Party takes power in 24. And it was 619 days from Rishi Sunak taking office. Shout out to D26, wherever he is. When Rishi Sunak took office, it was synced up with a special day in India that had the 201 connection. There was actually a 201 ritual with Rishi Sunak becoming prime minister as well, and now there is with the Keir Starmer as well, 201 days after the Pope's birthday. But it's 619 days since Rishi Sunak took office, which is the 114th prime number. I need to look more into that. I know things about 114. It connects to art of war, history, World War. Hopefully, that's not where they're going with this. It's not some kind of like Winston Churchill tribute, but I'm wondering if there's something else about 114 in British political history that's the reason for that. I know it's not an accident that it's 619 days later. Again, that's kind of like the real King James's birthday, June 19th. And remember, the Jesuits tried to blow up King James on Remember the 5th of November. And that this year, the 60th U.S. presidential election is on November 5th. And unless that's what it has to do with, it's possible it's something about that. That same history with King James and the Guy Fawkes plot to blow up British Parliament with fireworks. Maybe that is what it is, because the more I talk about it out loud, the more sense it makes. Yeah, they tried to blow up British Parliament with fireworks. And again, they're doing the election on the U.S.'s birthday where people shoot off the fireworks. I got to keep thinking about it more. There's more to it. And him being installed today in the UK, they write today 5/7. To be fair, England's got that 57 connection. All right. Beryl shifting its track 201 days after the Pope's birthday. Mr. Climate Change is this Pope. And now they're saying Corpus Christi could be the target. July 8th, this coming Monday. Did I put the screenshot up here? Here, yeah. Again, just a reminder, the Jesuit order and weather control, the exact same in 3 out of the 4 ciphers. The one where it differs, weather control is also 75, like how today can be written 7-5. Today, the hurricane shifted its track, started heading towards north, with now a projection to hit Texas. Corpus Christi, it's gotten some hurricane damage in recent years, as we've covered. I recall the year where we circled all the 52 dates. If I recall that year, the first hurricane to land did land on Corpus Christi. And what we've pointed out before is, I think I have a typo here. Let somebody comes here and be like, that doesn't equal 239. Let me double check something. I think I made a mistake. Corpus Christi, Texas. That's what I meant to write. Corpus Christi, Texas is 239, which again is the 52nd prime. And again, hurricane, flood, earth, Enlil, they're all 52. The Caribbean, the islands that first got devastated by this Hurricane Beryl, it happened on the first day of the month, which had 52 date numerology. The Book of the Law, which is another name for the Torah, where the story of the biblical flood is. The Book of the Law is also 239, the 52nd prime. When Harvey wrecked Houston the other year, that was on the 239th day of the year. Plus that year it had 52 date numerology. It was Lyndon Johnson's birthday anniversary. The man who said who controls the weather controls the world. And he said that at Jesuit Holy Cross. And it goes with the first act of weather warfare going back to 52 in the Jesuit Order's birthday. But yeah, it's interesting that its path shifted today, and now Texas is believed to be where it will impact Monday. And again, all these storms that are probably not Mother Nature, or, it's the combination of Mother Nature guided with sophisticated military technology, and coming up on the 72nd anniversary of admitted weather warfare. Remember, psychopaths run this nation, not people who care about us, people who want to control us. And they know with their banking Ponzi scheme, every time they destroy a place, that central bank is going to get a call, and then they're going to give out another loan, and then guaranteed more profits at the expense of the taxpayers. And as time goes on, the more debt, the more lending, the more our tax money each year just goes to paying the interest, which just, means that we get less of a return on our taxes. It's now just going to a banker profit. And again, the people who are asleep at the wheel are thinking, well, what else could we do? I mean, Mother Nature just got so crazy. It's like, was it Mother Nature, or did we allow a psychopathic gang who kind of flaunted this in front of our face for a long time to get away with murder and worse? I mean, they've been telling us for over 60 years who controls the weather, controls the world. You just trace all the dates. It all goes back to the Jesuits, every last bit of it. Same type of stuff year after year. So let's hope Texas isn't on the verge of another major flood. Again, that Harvey flooding was also on the anniversary of Stevie Ray Vaughan's death, whose best-selling album was Texas Flood. All right, and then just the Diddy thing. On July 4th, 7-4, a long history of dead rappers in 74, including Biggie, who died a span of 74 days from his birthday. But the word rapper is 74. There's a long list of 74. In this case, the woman who accused him of sex trafficking and sexual assault, her name is English, her last name. English is 74. Just like Gematria, like Colt, like Energy, like Masonic, like Holiday. Apply numerology like Independence Day. And every single one of these Diddy suits against him. And again, we predicted it'd be a very bad year for him at age 54, but literally every single one of these rolls out by the numerical code that is so obvious. Or if not that, they're paying tribute to history, like the raid on the anniversary of the Biggie album. It was Life After Death. They raided his house on the anniversary of Life After Death. And it goes with, Biggie having the beef with Tupac and Tupac dying on the anniversary of Biggie's album, Ready to Die. And it's been major league jokes all this time. Okay. And then, again, just to scroll through some of the things that I just documented on Twitter, little things. CNN, they got to give you 39 photos for the week. And the first one is Steve Bannon in New York. Again, everything is 39 in New York. New York is the land of 39. And case in point, Yankees in Boston series starts tonight, and Boston comes into town with 39 losses. You'll just see that over and over. Teams coming into town with New York with old 39. Mets and Yankees play each other. Mets sweep both games, 2-game series to get to 39 and 39 for the year. How about this headline from CNN about from the new prime minister in the UK? Starmer pledges reset. I mean, the Great Reset was the thing that came from Jesuit Klaus Schwab. Great Britain, United Kingdom, reset. I don't think that headline's an accident. All right, let's see. This was yesterday on Independence Day, 35 Thursday. Little 35 Thursday for you. You take advantage of that Dodgers upset last night. Dodgers get beat by the Diamondbacks, and they got beat good on 35 Thursday, getting their 35th loss of the year. Arizona equals 39. They beat them 3-9. But yeah, just always 35 Thursday. It never ends. Again, CNN giving you the set list for the musicians performing on the 4th, while playing In Vogue's "Never Gonna Get It," while the Killers are the top at the top of the list. I hate how confident these people are in their mockery. The Joe Biden 25th Amendment. And people didn't catch that joke, so they gave him another one. 25 House Democrats reportedly working on letters urging Biden to drop out of the race. Again, Biden equals 25. Shout out to RPM Trey. He was out pounding payment for the 4th of July. Chaos is our friend. Top headline CNN for a lot of the day on the 4th of July with Trump. We've always talked about Trump is the agent of chaos, how many rituals he's had with the chaos code. But chaos is our friend. 248, like President Donald Trump. This CNN's coded headline for the U.S.'s 248th birthday. Again, when the election was called for Trump in 2016, he had 248 electoral votes at the time. On November 9th, 119, when the upcoming election, the winner will take office with the 119th Congress. And again, tarot cards is 119, and there's 78 in the deck, like Trump's age. So we'll see where we go as soon as Monday, 7/8. And yeah, just this was another top headline CNN had for a lot of the day on the nation's birthday. Biden tells governors he needs more sleep. I mean, come on. Like, you can't see how these jokes fit President Donald Trump, who calls him Sleepy Joe. A lot of people watch Fox, they're like, no, that's a liberal network, CNN. They're just all for the Democrats. They're not really, if you pay attention. They're just more propaganda, coded information all day. Yeah, they're not founded by the Republican Party like Fox News, so they're not as Republican as Fox is, but it doesn't mean they're Democratic. George Stephanopoulos, though, that's another story. Yeah, if you guys don't follow my Twitter, it is at Free to Find Truth. And yeah, it's one of the earliest headlines in the day. It's just so obvious. A woman named Adria English is the top headline on 7/4. Biden will face the most critical 48 hours. That was for the 4th and today. And of course, Donald Trump has that strong 48 connection, could possibly end up becoming number 48, just like Cleveland equals 48, the only other split term president. I forgot to decode this. Sometimes I'll throw up things on my Twitter because somebody passed them along to me and I don't want to forget them. But a woman from the reality show Love and Marriage, Kiki Jabbar, dead at 42. I don't even think I need to say anymore. My mom represents what's wrong with America. She just doesn't want to see that this guy is a snake. Did you guys see all the headlines on 7/2 for RFK Jr.? You know, they dug back up the story from the 90s that he essentially raped a 23-year-old woman, and he didn't get convicted of rape, but when they asked him about it, he says, "Oh, you know, I happened a long time ago. I want to talk about it. I'm no church boy." I mean, those kind of answers, like, that tells me that you were. I think these kind of things are the reason your wife supposedly committed suicide. And again, that's what I always say to my mom. I'm like, if he's really that great of a guy, don't you think it's weird that his wife committed suicide? I mean, I'm sure there's been a scenario where there was a husband and wife, and a wife committed suicide, and it really wasn't on the husband. But at the same time, I just feel like it's not a good look for the partner, you know, when your spouse commits suicide. But yeah, again, all these guys are Jesuit educated. Every name in the race is a Jesuit educated person. The Jesuits are, you know, they're snakes. They're snakes in the grass. They work by deception. They work by infiltration. Out of all the days RFK Jr. could have posted a video on his social media about how much he loves snakes, he had to do it on July 2nd. Because my mom's like, did you watch the video, Zach? He's just showing that he's knowledgeable and likes snakes. I'm like, yeah, Mom, but he could have posted that like any day of the year, not on 7/2, the anniversary of his uncle meeting with the Pope, when we know how special this 72 is to the Jesuits. Why Donald Trump, the Jesuits, always going around reading the poem about the snake and how people the lady let him in. It's just people don't want to see the obvious. Yeah, I can watch this video and see that. Yeah, oh, it doesn't seem like some evil satanic video, but the thing is, it's like, okay, again, why is he having everyone meet in DC to rally against the mandates on Georgetown's birthday when that's where he went to school? Georgetown prep grad is RFK. Out of all the days in the year, he had to have the rally on Georgetown's birthday. And then why does he have to announce he's running in a very obvious Jesuit ritual 144 days after the Superior General's birthday, when his dad was killed at 1:44 a.m. and his uncle was murdered 144 days from meeting with the Pope, which is the anniversary, or July 2nd is the anniversary of that, with his snake thing here from that day. And again, just giving his first speech when he's running for president on Ignatius Loyola Day. And just everything else about this guy, his announcement for his VP, who's Jesuit educated, the day the bridge falls down on Nancy Pelosi's birthday, another Catholic Jesuit educated person. Yeah, it's just my mom represents America. It's just like she's like my landscaper guy that I used to have when I lived in Yakima. Um, he was a huge Trump guy. He was a real nice guy, and he'd listen to everything I'd say, but he just couldn't hear anything bad about Trump. He just shut down. He'd listen to everything and be like, yeah, that makes wow. But then Trump, he just couldn't hear it. I hate how people are that way. It's like, well, look, I'm showing you the exact same thing about all these candidates, and they all come from the same background. Why are you going to choose to shut your mind down now when it's the one you like? Don't you realize all different people are getting deceived by these candidates? You think you're above the deception? No, it's just, I don't want to call my mom stupid, but people are stupid, and they're willfully stupid. She was getting all annoyed. She's like, it was just a fun video about how he likes snakes. I'm like, yeah, mom, but it's the fact that he puts it up on 7-2. That's not an arbitrary number combination to these Jesuits. That's why you got the first damn Jesuit Pope on the 72nd day of the year. It's why everything that again, he has all the parallels to Joe Biden has the same birthday as his father, RFK, November 20th. All the stuff with Joe Biden 72. That's my mom will be like, okay, I get that, but not RFK. He's good. It's like, okay, when asked about raping a woman, he says he's no church boy. Tells me he probably got away with rape because he's from a powerful Kennedy family. His wife's suicide is all kinds of suspect. I mean, that's the other thing about all these Jesuits in the race right now. The top three most probable candidates at the moment are all Jesuit educated men who've all had wives die by a very obvious numerical code. Are these things not weird? And then Snake Man on 7-2. I mean, come on. Fox News had a funny headline up earlier about how Joe Biden said he's gonna win the election this year in 2020. All these things are the reason it doesn't look like that's what it's going to be. The national anthem standoff. Don't forget the national anthem written by Francis Scott Key in Baltimore. This year, the Orioles owner died on the 47th birthday of the Francis Scott Key Bridge, and then it collapsed 3 days later. That's not an accident. So anyway, I think those are the majority of the headlines I wanted to get caught up with, and I think I got. Well, I'm sure if I scroll through here, there's even more, but I think I got the main posts on Twitter I wanted to talk about. Oh, hold on. There's another 25 that they put up here for right here. Just these fake stats they put up. And just another 25. Voters say Democrats would fare better with an alternate presidential candidate in latest CNN poll. Only 25% support Joe Biden. 25 letters, 25th Amendment. Okay. Yeah, I think we're good for now, Truth Seeker. Shout out to Logan Thomas again. Thank you, Logan. He says, your Kamala Hoover Ford connection is one of the best and easiest to remember and explain to people. Still blows my mind. Appreciate the work. Thank you, Logan. And again, if they do go with that plan, the Gerald Ford prophecy, it's going to be, I do hope they do it because it'll be a great way to wake up the sleeping masses. I think even my sister will have a hard time denying that one. Jay, I did not see it. Hold on, let me check my phone. Did you text it to me or email it? I see your text message right now.
What about Black Panther 2? Anything? I'm dead. We're not ready for you to be dead, Chad. Wait, I am. I'm dead. What about Black Panther 2? Anything?
Jay, we looked at that clip back when he passed. I do remember that. How before his passing, how he'd been lying or smiling and talking about his death. It's just like Bob Saget, how he did that podcast with his wife and said, apparently I'm gonna die in bed, and then eventually get the headline that he died in bed hitting his head. But yeah, of course, Chadwick Boseman, again, just one of the most blatant examples of ritualism and potentially fakery. I mean, you look at that clip right there, how he's smiling and grinning about how he's going to be dead while they're talking about the Black Panther film. Makes you wonder because, again, they moved Jackie Robinson Day to August 28th that year because of COVID. And then that was Jack Kirby's birthday, who wrote the Black Panther. And again, Chadwick Boseman died on that day. And the actual Jackie Robinson, who Chadwick Boseman portrayed in the movie 42, the actual Jackie Robinson was in World War II, and he was in the tank brigade called the Black Panthers. So there was a lot more to it, but yeah, good reminder. I have seen that clip in the past. Yeah, I appreciate that though. So many things to remember. I mean, that is a great example to remember. Here's if you guys aren't subscribed to RPM Trey Vietnam or Jay, you should subscribe to both their channels. They both do good work. RPM Trey was out on the 4th, standing up for the Second Amendment, something very few people are doing anywhere. Yesterday, I was tempted to talk about this right here. Yesterday for the 4th, I was meeting some newer people who moved into the neighborhood, and they're big Patriots fans. They had New England Patriots t-shirts on for the 4th. And I was like, it'll be a future conversation. It's funny how many bandwagon Patriots fans there are everywhere. One of the other guys who moved to this neighborhood's a Patriots fan. I told you I was talking to him for hours earlier this year. About rigged sports and politics by the numbers. He was mind blowing. Yeah, I got an RPM Trey shirt on right now. The Huggin AR owner campaign. Yeah. Oh yeah. Of course, LeBron breaking. Yeah, that was a mega ritual. All the 38s and LeBron breaking the record. Yeah. Yeah. Indeed. Yeah, if Skull and Bones' establishment anniversary is the same as Yale's, which is October 9th, you're right. It would turn 192 years old later this year on October 9th. Okay. All right, I got to get dinner going over here, you guys. Thank you again to everyone who hits the like and the share, and yeah, I think that George Stephanopoulos Joe Biden interview is going on right now. Might have to take a peek at how they do that, but again, it's like, and in a way, it just shows how biased the media is, right? It's like, okay, so George Stephanopoulos is doing this for Joe Biden to try and gain some traction back after the poor debate performance. And it's like, is that what your media is supposed to be doing, working for a political candidate? And then you look at a guy like George Stephanopoulos, who comes from the Democratic Party. It's like, shouldn't the media really truly be fair and balanced and not partisan and just presenting information? I mean, we know that it's not that way, right? It's nothing but it might as well be the fourth branch of government, the propaganda wing of the feds. Because again, I mean, where was the fair, balanced coverage during the pandemic? All the people who were right about everything, people like yours truly, who wrote a book that was dead on, who pretty much everything I predicted about the pandemic was true. I mean, we had like nearly every date for everything they were going to do before it happened, what the outcome of the rushed out jabs would be. But we didn't get any kind of representation in the media. We never got to have our voice out there, and all we got was demonized and talked about by these talking heads who do nothing but lie about how evil and wrong and bad we were. And we got censored for it. And lo and behold, we were the only people who were right. But it's amazing that anyone still listens to American media and expects any truth or really anything other than lies and cover up and misinformation, because that's all it ever is. All right. Thank you as well, Space Invader. What did you do here? T is 20 plus 26. Are we? Is that T plus Z? What are we doing? Um, well, or maybe you got here late. I was talking about how, again, Gerald Ford gave the prediction for how we'll get the first female president. And again, he replaced Nixon on the day, leaving 144 days left in the year. And again, Nixon also lost to Kennedy in 60, who has all the parallels to Biden. So, like I said earlier in the stream, Obama's about to turn 63 August 4th, like the year JFK got it. And again, the year Obama was born, if you look it up, the Andy Griffith episode that year. Here, if you go to my old website, I have a post on this. If you type in Andy Griffith, that might just bring it up. What in the world? Did I spell it wrong? All right. This post is from 2015. I posted on July 20th, funny enough. But yeah, a little trivia here. Did you know Deputy Fife, that's from the Andy Griffith Show, attempts to interrogate a sleeping Otis to ascertain where the moonshine is being distilled? Otis feigns sleep and leads Barney on a wild goose chase north towards Canada. I can't believe that I'd been overlooking all these years how the Kennedy family got their alcohol from Canada. Now I'm getting why they did the thing with the hockey team that plays near Parkland, beating the Canadian team in the Stanley Cup that they synced up with the finals, which was Boston over Dallas, where JFK and the Kennedys have the Boston connection. He was killed in Dallas. But again, Otis feigns sleep and leads Barney on a wild goose chase north towards Canada and back to the address 411 Elm Street. Again, that's the address where JFK was shot from. It is only then that Barney realizes that Otis has said the moonshine is being distilled at Barney's own residence, 411 Elm Street. This address is interesting since 2 years later, President Kennedy would be assassinated by Lee Harvey Oswald, who was firing from the Texas School Book Depository located at that very address in Dallas, Texas, 411 Elm Street. In Jewish gematria, Assassins 411. From Obama's birthday to that episode actually came out Christmas Day. I said Christmas Eve earlier. It came out Christmas Day. And something I didn't catch back then is 1225. The number 1225 has a square root of 35. Like JFK was number 35, killed on I-35. If Joe Biden did depart on August 9th, that'd be the last day of the anniversary of Herbert Hoover being in his 149 years old, because the next day will be his 150th birthday anniversary. 149 is the 35th prime number, like JFK is born on the 149th day of the year. But yeah, 144 days from Obama's birthday. And the Andy Griffith Show equals Dealey Plaza. So yeah, as we know, 144 has the big connection to the USA. The Jesuits, again, the Jesuits came out of suppression 144 days after James Madison's birthday, way back when he was president. President Biden, now 144. A lot of these characters on the world stage born for it. So yeah, I'm thinking Obama turning 63 is the clue about what's not just too far off after that. And the one other thing to think about is that if Biden could make it through August, the 9th month is interesting because the next president to die in office is the 9th to do so. 8 presidents have died in office. The last was JFK. And where Joe Biden is number 46, he's also the 45th person to be president, which is the 9th triangular number. Okie dokie. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, capital T Francis Bacon Gematria. Okay. All right. It says 963 people are watching between our two platforms. What a number. Okay, we'll leave it there for now. Again, thank you to everyone who hits the like and the share. Again, thank you to everyone who supports the work. And yeah, Bruce Lee died in a big 201 ritual. I'm sure you know about Alec Baldwin smoking the Ukrainian woman on the set of Rust right before Russia, Ukraine, 201 days after his birthday. And again, back in time, Brandon Lee was buried on Alec Baldwin's birthday. And then years later, he's having the parallel to what happened to Brandon Lee. And Brandon Lee died while filming The Crow, and his dad died while filming Game of Death. And in Game of Death, there's a scene like what happened to Brandon Lee. Again, if you don't know about Brandon Lee's death in Bruce Lee's film Game of Death, when he died on the 201st day of the year, go back and check that out and see the parallels with what happened with Baldwin and the Ukrainian woman, again, on the set of Rust in a church shootout scene right before Russia-Ukraine breaks out on the anniversary of the church, the Catholic Church, implementing the Gregorian calendar. All right, we'll leave it there. Have a great rest of your day. And until next time, True Sticker.